You need to start now. It's really easy to think that looking 6 months ahead right now is a waste of time. You can listen to these videos all you want, but if you just take a couple hours and sit down and really take the advice that I'm giving you, I promise you'll start seeing changes in your SaaS business today. My name is Shah, and this is day number 5 of 365 days of videos. Guys, today I want to share one of my biggest secrets on how I secured $64,000 in annual recurring revenue for my SaaS company in just 3 hours. If you're thinking about launching your own SaaS company, these insights will save you so much time I cannot even explain. By the end of this video, you'll have a list of actionable steps that you can follow to do the same thing that I did and launch your company into success. If you don't have the motivation to sit through a video that starts like this, honestly, you're probably not going to make it in SaaS. With that said, why should you care about what I say? Well, my name is Shah, and I have started 4 companies in the last 10 years and recently just started my SaaS company about a year and a half ago. Collectively, all 4 of my companies did $9.5 million in sales. So I do know a thing or two about business, not necessarily mogul, but I'm here to help you guys out and hopefully launch you guys at least a year and a half into your SaaS business. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe real quick. If you have a team that you're working on your SaaS company with, definitely make sure to go ahead and share this with them. And with that said, guys, let's get right into it. Point number 1, I started thinking about acquisition really early. You have way less time than you think, I promise you. The best advice that I can give to anyone that started a SaaS company is act as if your software is already done and you are ready to start selling the software tomorrow. Put yourself in a seat where you are acting as if you are ready to start selling. It's really easy to get caught in this trap and have this comfort of the cushion between right now and when your SaaS is actually gonna get done. But I'm telling you, if you wait till that moment, you're gonna get to that point and be so lost that everything in your head is gonna be spinning in a whirlwind. And when it comes to finding a customer, all those thoughts and plans and ideas that you had in your head are gonna seem useless. Because when you can't control and focus in one direction, your mind starts losing it. And next thing you know, you start lacking that confidence that you need and you start lacking the motivation. And then you think all the work that you did was for nothing. So how do you act as if you're ready to sell your software? You sit down in your seat, and you put down a sheet of paper and you say, what can I do right now to get a customer tomorrow? And you're gonna start thinking about obvious things. And this brings me to point number 2. You might go to Facebook groups or forums that have the type of people that you're looking for, right? When you first started your SaaS, and I say this in every single video that I make, and by the way, I make a video every single day, especially specifically about SaaS, is that you should find a niche. If you have a niche, you should be able to find groups or forums that exist on Facebook or online where these people are communicating with each other, right? Most industries have a support group. You should be able to find the person, your ideal customer, in one of those groups. Number 2, conventions. There are conventions that exist in which you can go and network. And even if you're finding 1 to 2 customers a day, that's okay. Don't expect to be able to find 75 customers in one sitting. That's not how this works. It's okay when you first start, especially when you're in beta testing, when your software is not gonna work perfectly. It's okay to find customers slowly. Number 3, Instagram. Instagram is huge. Instagram has 2 billion users and they're pretty much in there talking to each other, commenting, making posts. You can easily find people that are looking for a software like yours on Instagram. Trust me, it's not that difficult. Just go look for pages, look through hashtags, look for usernames, look for topics that people are talking about that have to do with the niche that you're selling to. And it doesn't necessarily need to be people that are engaging with other softwares that exist in your industry. It just needs to be the type of people that make up your ideal customer base. And last but not least, you're looking at it right now, YouTube. You can find YouTube channels that exist that are marketing maybe different products than the one that you're building to the same type of people that are your ideal customers. So whether you're in fintech, medical space, automotive industry, whatever industry you're in, there's going to be YouTube channels in which people have the attention of the people that you need to reach. That brings me to point number 3 and the main purpose of you guys coming to this video, which is story time on how I did it for my SaaS company. Within the first 3 hours of launching my SaaS company, we secured enough customers to bring us $64,000 in annual recurring revenue. And that was with us pretty much rejecting customers because we weren't ready to take on more customers than we already took on within the first 3 hours. I was looking around to find Instagram, Facebook groups, all the advice that I gave you guys, and YouTube channels that had the ideal customer that was supposed to buy my software once it was completely done. Now, keep in mind, I started this knowing that my software was not going to be done for another 6 months to 8 months. And even to this day, we're still in our beta testing phase. The number 1 thing that you should be concerned about as a SaaS founder is how you're going to sell your product. I promise you, your your product can be as perfect as possible, but at the end of the day, if there's no one to sell it to, it doesn't matter what you build, it doesn't matter how perfect it is, and don't think that you can wait till the last minute and then start thinking about a marketing strategy. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that think that dumping $10,000 into Google ads or YouTube ads is a marketing strategy, you are wrong. So what I did when I first started was I went to Facebook groups that were in the automotive industry that were marketing specifically to the niche that I needed to sell to. I joined those groups and became friends with the admins in those groups. How did I do that? Well, first things first, I had to get my feet wet a little bit. I had to go in there. I made a couple posts. I was interacting with people. So I became top contributor in all those groups within a matter of about 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, I went and I started just adding a bunch of people that were in the group. So these group lists, even the private groups, have public lists on their group. So I started adding just a bunch of those people. Once I was able to do that, I started becoming friends with the admins of the groups that I was in. Some of these groups had 30,000 people, 20,000 people, 10,000 people. And so I started becoming friends with them. And I even started kind of prematurely talking to them a little bit about what I was doing, showed them little, clips of what I was building and things like that. I sent them Looms. So if you guys don't have Loom, I highly suggest you download Loom. It's a Google Chrome extension that I use. I started making personalized videos. So if I was talking to John, I would make John a personalized video about what I'm building, and John happened to be an admin of a group that had 30,000 followers. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. People want to help people they like. So you just need to be social. And by the way, if you are not social and you're a SaaS founder that is expecting to be successful, I'm not saying you can't do it without it, but you probably increase your chances by 10x by either becoming social and training yourself to do that, or finding a business partner who can do that side for you, right? If you're building the software, you should focus on building the software while someone else focuses on what I'm talking about in this video. My biggest win when it came to customer acquisition and how I created this 3-hour boom in my successful launch was I got a hold of one particular person who was running a YouTube channel. This happened to be the biggest YouTube channel in the automotive space, in the specific niche, not just in the automotive space, but in the niche that was my ideal customer. So what I did was I pretty much found the company that she was running, and I went and I started reaching out to her every single day. So I literally went and I Googled her name, first and last name, found out her email address, found out her phone number, pretty much just my research, right? And I ended up finding that this person was a really difficult person to get a hold of. So then I went down the rabbit hole of figuring out what assistants she might have. She was the CEO of the company. So I figured out who her assistant was by going pretty much on Facebook and finding out people that were interacting with her Facebook profile. And by this point, I actually wasn't friends with her on Facebook, but she was posting a lot of content in groups. So I was able to kind of dissect who was closer to her. And from that point, I figured out that I could reach out to one of her assistants. Finally, after sending about 17 emails, and that's right, that's how long it takes, guys. If you guys think you're gonna get a hold of these people by just reaching out once and you're gonna give up, you're not gonna make it in this industry, or any industry for that matter, honestly. As a business owner, you can't expect to get results within minutes. So I reached out to her on a regular basis, the assistant on a regular basis, for about 2 to 3 weeks. I sent out about 17 emails before finally, and every email was a little bit different, right? I wasn't just like, hey, sending these templated emails. I was sending out personalized emails with videos, Looms. Some of them I wouldn't send any videos because I was afraid they might be going to spam. And finally, I got a response, and not from the assistants. I actually got a response from the CEO, and she was like, wow, I'm so sorry that I haven't reached back out to you. I see you sent me about 20 emails. And she was like, yeah, sure, you know what? And every email, I was just asking her for one thing. I just asked her if I could show her the software that I'm building for the automotive industry. So finally, she said, yes, let's go ahead and do it. And even after she said yes, I actually had to email her like 4 or 5 times until I had to pretty much tell a little bit of a white lie where I said, hey, I'm about to launch this product in a week, but I want to talk to you first, because that caught her attention, because she's like, okay, wait a minute. If there's an opportunity here, I want to be a part of it. So she ended up, getting back to me, and we ended up setting up a meeting. In that meeting, what I ended up doing, because the software wasn't ready, I ended up pretty much curating, because the second that she told me she was ready to go, my team was all excited. They were jumping up and down, but I was like, wait a minute. It's not done yet. We're not done yet. We have to convince her that the software that we're building is the right software for this industry, and we're solving the right problems. So what I did was I pretty much sat down and really deeply thought about what kind of demo I want to show her. What are the most important problems that my software solves, and solves fully? And I made my demo only about those few features, just 2 to 3 features that really solve the problems that I'm trying to solve in this industry. So I had to actually curate pages because the software wasn't done. I ended up curating pages based on what I knew I was going to be presenting to her. So I went and I saved the data in the database. So then that way, when I was showing her the software, it looked like it was working, but in reality, it was more like smoke and mirrors. However, obviously today the software works the way that I showed her, but at that moment in time, it didn't. I didn't want to tell her that it wasn't ready. So I ended up presenting to her what I believed she would want to see. And literally about halfway through the presentation, and by the way, this person, she was a really serious person. And halfway through the presentation, she goes, okay, does it do this, this, and this? And I said, yes. This was about 15 minutes through the presentation. And she says, okay, perfect. I'm in. Word for word, she said, in my 30 years of being in this industry, I have not found a single person who made a software that is this easy to use and can be utilized the way that you guys built it. She's like, let me know what you need from me. Obviously, number one, that pretty much told me that what I've built so far obviously is going to be helpful to this industry. So she loved how simple it was, and she loved that it solved the problems and didn't do much more than just solving those few problems. She said, I'll go ahead and start a focus group for you. So once you're ready, I have an email list of 17,000 people. I'll send out an email and I'll end the list at 300 to 500 people. So about a month later, I contacted her and said, first of all, I was surprised that she even wanted to do that, but obviously she had confidence in this thing. And so about a month later, I offered her a percentage of the sales that we were gonna make. And she said, I don't really care for that right now. You guys are brand new. Let's go ahead and get this thing off the ground and then we'll talk further on that. And so she pretty much asked me for some content that she could send out to the email list that she has, and put together a nice little email and started a simple Google form in which people signed up for a webinar. Fast forward about 2 weeks after that, we had close to 200 signups of people that showed up to a 1-hour webinar. The webinar went amazing. We collected information in that moment of the people that wanted to sign up. And within 3 hours after the webinar, we had all of our slots filled for the beta testing phase. And all of that money added up to about $64,000 in annual recurring revenue. And we just stopped. And I think we only signed up 15 people because we weren't really ready to take on more than that in that moment. It is incredible at what just networking did for me, right? You have to understand, if you're starting a SaaS company, you need to start now. It doesn't matter how much further you are along. I don't want you to think about it like a waste of time, because it's really easy to think that looking 6 months ahead right now is a waste of time, or figuring out how to sell your software before it's even made is a waste of time. But I promise you, if you have that mentality, you're not gonna make it. You gotta get a team together, or you've gotta figure out yourself on how you can set aside some time in order to go target the Facebook groups, the Instagrams, the YouTube channels, and make friends with these people ultimately at the end of the day. Because again, like I said, people work with people they like, and people want to help people they like. You don't need to necessarily go out offering money or handing out money left, right, and center to get people to help you. Those were the few steps that I took, and that was my story on how I secured the first few customers for my company. If this helped you out, make sure to go ahead and subscribe, because I don't want you to miss future videos. I'm gonna be dropping a lot more videos like this. Also drop a comment to let me know what you guys want me to talk about in future videos. It helps me come up with these ideas to help you guys out ultimately. So remember, at the end of the day, it's all about execution. You can listen to these videos all you want, but if you just take a couple hours and sit down and really take the advice that I'm giving you, I promise you'll start seeing changes in your SaaS business today. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Shah. I'll see you guys tomorrow.